Hello and welcome everyone. It's great to see all of you again in today's webinar on the MagHealy after we had a short break last week. If you have our schedule well in mind, then you know that after this session, 2 more trainings are coming in the following 2 weeks. And we hope that you already enjoyed the journey with us so far and that you already took some expert knowledge on MagHealy with you. My name is Mark Sacher. I'm Healy World's Global Marketing Product Manager. I am your host for today, and it is my true pleasure to be with you. In the month of July, we already featured a series of amazing speakers in this format, from Dr. Michael Chan over Alexander Deal, up to the one and only Carolyn McMakin. But today, it will feel like a bit as we are going back to the roots again by featuring the first speaker that joined us in the very first webinar that we started. I guess you all know who I'm talking about, and you are correct. It's our Chief Product Officer, Martin Wittman, joining us again to take us on a dedicated journey on the MagHealy Atmosphere application. Stay tuned and make sure that you stay with us till the very end. Martin, are you there?
Of course. Hello. So, let's get into details. So I think we have some slides and I think we could start with them immediately. So understanding and using MagHealy. I mean, that's the thing that actually is the most important if you buy a device like Healy or MagHealy, that you actually understand it and use it properly. Of course, for Healy and MagHealy, that's a little challenging because there are lots of different functionalities, lots of different programs, and lots of approaches to actually deal with the same thing. And one, of course, are the atmosphere programs. And here we should start with the effects of magnetic fields on our existence. So what does that actually mean? So we are talking primarily about geomagnetic activity now. And you know that our whole body is constantly influenced by magnetic fields and the interaction of Earth and space. So what does that actually mean? So we all know that there's gravity. So we have like the 9.81 constant that is actually resembling our gravity that basically pulls us to the ground, so that we actually walk on the Earth and not float somewhere like we would in space. So that's a magnetic field, or that's the magnetic field of the Earth. And of course, this magnetic field is influenced or is also or we also have different other magnetic field things that influence us. Also, if you talk about the space, so if you have those sun eruptions and also the sun and of course the moon, as we all know, the tide is because of the moon. So actually that the water of the sea rises and falls is because of the influence of the moon, and the moon has an own magnetic field, and all those things of course influence our body, influence our existence radically. So our body is used to those things. We all know from those space movies that if you're in space and you're just floating, all your muscles basically disappear because you're not used to work against the gravity force that pulls you to the ground when you walk on the Earth. And all those, and this is a very, very simple to understand example what such a magnetic field actually does to us. So it basically, the way we look, the muscle mass we have is 100% because of the magnetic field of the Earth. And of course, this is a very, let's say, physical effect that's very visible. But of course, we have also less, how do you call it? Less prominent effects that are there. Those not prominent effects, that's what we want to go in detail now, because I mean, the gravity force is a very, very strong force, but we have lots of other magnetic fields and also frequencies transported with magnetic fields, as we have with the MagHealy. So what do we have here? So yes, so solar and the geomagnetic activity we already had. And we also, or everyone, I don't know everyone, but most of you might know the Schumann resonance frequencies. So those are also very, very famous frequencies also related to this magnetic field of the Earth. What we also have, which is very interesting, is consciousness based on electromagnetic fields. So this is a really nice theory of the Anglo-Irish scientist John McFadden, which states that the electromagnetic field carried by the brain is the actual carrier of the human consciousness. So that's what it comes down to. So basically everything in our body is influenced by magnetic fields somehow. And according to this theory, also our whole thinking process, our whole consciousness basically is based on such relations to magnetic fields. Yeah, and as we have here, of course, we have our MagHealy atmosphere programs. So those are single frequency programs. So it's not like MagMaken, you have two frequencies that are basically working in parallel and have interferences. No, you have one magnetic field with one frequency modulation at a time. Of course, many frequencies in a row. And those usually are about 5 feet or 1.5 meter around the MagHealy. So if you place it in the middle of the room, you basically cover a whole portion of the room. But of course, that's not the whole story. As you see the note, the power of magnetic field decreases with the third power. What does that mean? It means that if you go very, very near to the MagHealy, so actually the bottom of the MagHealy, there you have the highest magnetic field density. So the magnetic field is the strongest. And then when you go away from it, it doesn't decrease with the power of 2, so exponential decrease of magnetic field strength. No, it's the power of 3. So it's even a higher decrease in field strength. But that also means it's never 0. It just decreases rapidly. So 1.5 meters is just basically an estimation where you say, okay, that's where the magnetic field is still quite strong, more or less. But of course, it permeates the whole room. It permeates much, much further. But of course, it's getting weaker, very, very fast. And that's what basically the atmosphere programs do. They basically harmonize the room. And the room actually has its own logic. So there we can then start out with the atmosphere study that we did. So with the atmosphere study, we used the programs Holistic Health and Sleep and basically made a study for 2 weeks with about 188 or with exactly 188 participants. And there we asked them if how their well-being basically increased. And we also asked how the concerns decreased. So what does that mean that concerns decreased? In this survey, you basically say, yeah, currently I have XYZ problem. And then after the survey, we ask you for the same problem that you stated in the beginning, how did it improve? And there we have a very large significance or coherence D, so effect size, that they basically said, okay, those concerns were decreased and the well-being was increased. So this is a very, very strong result actually of the study. And now let's go into more practical application. So what, MagHealy atmosphere permeate space. We already had this, and I think one thing that makes, or at least for me, makes it very visible or very tangible is the heart. If you look at the heart in this small graphics here, the heart is one of the strongest or the most constant working muscle in our body, and it has one of the strongest magnetic fields that's always there, basically. I mean, of course, if you suffer a heart failure or a heart surgery or something like that, it stops. But the rest of your whole life, this magnetic field is there. And I had a very interesting course in my studies, and it was magnetism in medicine. And there we went to a laboratory and they had a gradiometer. And a gradiometer is a very special device that you basically use to measure magnetic fields. And this was nitrogen cooled, so you really need to cool it very, very proper. And then you had a room which was basically shielded from magnetic fields. And in this room, there was this gradiometer and they had a person. And this gradiometer, which is a really huge thing, so it's triple the size of a human. So you have this huge thing basically in front of your heart. And there you could actually measure the ECG of your heart through the magnetic field. So that's how big and how constant basically your body produces a magnetic field with the heart. So you could actually measure the ECG through a gradiometer with this. What does that mean? It means that your body constantly also emits this magnetic field. And it's of course not the heart, it's all the other things in our body that move, that also basically produce magnetic fields, all the electricity that is used for cell communication and so on. So you have a whole symphony of magnetic fields in your body. And this symphony of magnetic fields basically reflects, or you could also call your bioenergetic field. And of course, this bioenergetic field is very sensitive to the room bioenergetic field. So you actually, you know this from churches or holy places, you go there and it's you feel differently. You feel better, you feel there's something, let's say positive energy, positive field. And that's also something that your body senses. And this is through this influence of this magnetic field of this room, of this place, which interacts with your magnetic fields at the end of the day. So you basically try, or what you try, you have this coherent field basically in this room, which reflects on your magnetic field, and you basically feel the coherence that is going through your body or through your bioenergetic field. And that's where the MagHealy atmosphere actually comes in. So you have resonance with people and an effect on the room. So you have the vector potential field resonating with the space and matter. What does that mean? So actually, as you know from the Healy coil, you have, for example, two magnetic fields and they cancel each other out. And then you have just the quantum potential frequencies left. So just the frequency information. And of course, you don't need to cancel both fields to have an information part of the magnetic field. So all magnetic fields have this information part, but usually the magnetic fields are very dumb. So you have magnetic fields if something, for example, current goes through a cable, you basically switch on your light and then you have a current flowing. Then you have immediately around this cable, basically you have a magnetic field. And this magnetic field actually has a frequency of 50 or 60 hertz, depending where you are. And so that's the maximum frequency that you basically experience through such fields. But of course, with the MagHealy, you have a frequency bandwidth from 0.1 to 12.5 megahertz. So it's a lot of frequencies. So it's, I don't know how many million frequencies or possible frequencies there are possible. And those frequencies basically can influence this room energy, or basically influence also your magnetic field directly. And that's basically through this additional information from the frequency. So this frequency actually has an effect. I don't know how familiar you all are with basically numerology. So basically every number has an effect. Every number has a meaning. And there, of course, for frequencies, the same thing in green. Every frequency has a meaning. Every frequency has an effect. Every frequency carries an information that is, of course, also transported through the magnetic field. And that's this single effect is the most important for atmosphere if you're not basically using the MagHealy on your body directly. So you have this information that's basically interacting with your field and interacting with the field of the room. And that's also very important that it resonates with the persons in the room. So people always, or that's most of the most common questions. What is if I have a magnetic field program with a MagHealy, the Healy atmosphere program, and then there's another person in the room? The beauty of it is that we are working with information field analysis. So the frequency is not like, okay, it's a fixed frequency like you have for the McMaken programs. There you have a fixed purpose and you have a fixed frequency. But for the atmosphere programs, you of course have a bigger scope of frequencies, and you analyze which frequency of those frequencies actually is resonating with the people in the room. So that's the beauty of it. So you actually try to find the best frequency for all the people in the room, and you analyze that to harmonize the room and the people in it the best way. And I mean, it's clear that of course those magnetic fields permeate also you and your all the other people, because magnetic fields are basically not easily to block. So you, as I told you, with the gradiometer measurement, you need a certain constellation of metals to actually block out magnetic fields. Otherwise, they simply permeate through everything. That's also one of the most common questions, if it goes through metal and plastic and glass and so on and so on. So most of the times the answer is yes, it permeates through those materials, most of them. And of course, what we also have is the coherent water structures. I think that's something that cannot be underestimated, because we are a huge part of our whole organism is based on water molecules, and we are a large part also made out of water. And you also have the meridian system, of course, that's also going through those water domains through our whole body. And those two things are, of course, very, very sensitive to magnetic fields. So you have those current water domains that, as you know, maybe from MRI, so magnetic resonance imaging. So you have this, 1 to, I think, 7 or even more Tesla, are those machines producing, which is a huge magnetic field. And it's that huge that you basically can tilt water molecules. You can basically tilt them because of the magnetic field, and then you get rid of the magnetic field, and then they basically move back in a certain position. And this movement, this thing, you actually use for imaging. So that basically illustrates very good that your body and your water, or the water in your body, is very sensitive to magnetic fields. Of course, we are with MagHealy not using such big magnetic field strengths, but we are also using a different effect of action. So we are not trying to basically tilt water molecules. We're basically trying to change the information, and that's what we do. Yeah, I think that I already explained in parts. And I think this picture that Marcus came up with, like a harp, so it's the string of a harp. So you basically tune your bioenergetic field. You tune this field of the room, your field, with the right frequencies, you basically pull the right strings and tune the right strings, and then you get a nice symphony of frequencies that actually reflects your body. As I told you in the beginning, all those things that are in our body are basically producing small magnetic fields, and of course those form a symphony of magnetic fields, a symphony of frequencies. And if this is in coherent harmony, you actually are feeling well. And that's an effect that we want to achieve. Yeah, you have this nice picture here. And yeah, I think I already covered this. Yeah, and the energetic field of a room. That's what we already also had. Yeah, the quality of the room energy. I think that's also something that we need to look at, because we are not talking about a quantitative effect. So we're not saying, okay, we have a magnetic field A and try to get a magnetic field B. It's that stronger or less strong or something. No, it's the quality of the room energy. So it's the quality of the field in the room. And that can be influenced by single frequencies. Yeah, we all know this from the Chi and Prana concepts. Yeah, now I think this is another very interesting point, because you all know Feng Shui and also other common, let's say, philosophies about what to place in the room, how to basically place it, where you put a water source, and how you basically place the rooms in a house. So where do you sleep, where do you cook, and so on. And all those things have a certain meaning and a certain quality. I mean, it's very logic, those things, because as you know, we have a magnetic field in the Earth. We have a North Pole, a South Pole. We have the sun is basically rising at one point and going down at another point. So there are simple geometric things that are set. Those are set in the place where you live. So in every place on Earth, those parameters are set. And of course, when you basically use the things in your room and arrange them in a way that they synchronize with this given geometries, then you can achieve wonderful things. And one tip, of course, is if you have a problem in a respective direction, then you simply place the MagHealy there and use the coherence program. You simply use a coherent or program that actually increases the coherence. Or, of course, if you want to harmonize the whole room or house or building, then you place the MagHealy, of course, always centrally, because the magnetic field basically goes in all directions. And if it's in all directions with the same distance, of course, in the middle of the room, in the middle of the building, there's the way, or there you should always place your MagHealy. And the northeast, of course, is very significant for those things. Northeast and northeast are especially suitable for water, and the east and north of the room should be light and open. I think that those are general tips, and we don't want to go into detail there, because I mean, you can go give whole seminars on this, but I think you get the idea. So if you use MagHealy with the atmosphere programs, also use those simple principles that are there for thousands of years to simply increase the effect. Yeah, and of course, atmosphere in relationships and groups, it's of course, if you use creatively, family harmony, relationship, prosperity, and chakra balancing, those are the ideal programs. Of course, if you have like things for plants, animals, also for food, energy balancing, so you can basically see where you have the biggest deficiencies. So is your animal not in harmony? Is your food, does it need improvement from an energy point of view or quality point of view? So you can basically direct your MagHealy wherever you actually see it the most fitting. And that you should also really use very consciously. So if you use MagHealy, always do it consciously and choose the program according to where's the biggest deficiency. Of course, you can also use it in team meetings and so on. We actually do that in our office. So when I'm in meetings, always someone has a MagHealy and puts it there and always asks everyone, yeah, what do we need? More creativity, more energy, and so on. So this is really helpful. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, and I think last but definitely not least is the atmosphere guideline. So this is really helpful for beginners. So if you don't know, okay, how to use it, what should I do? Then, of course, always in the morning, the energy program is very, very productive because, as you know, when you sleep, you regenerate, your whole body basically gets rid of toxins. I always drink a small glass, not smaller, glass of water, warm water, always in the morning. And then basically to get all those fluids going in the body. And of course, you can use the energy program immediately when you're eating in the morning or wherever you are. So you basically get into the day. And of course, on Saturdays, Sundays, you can also use the electrosensitivity program to basically get rid of all those disturbances through the whole week. And in noon, you can use the coherence program just as a stabilizer so that you have this coherence effect always during the day. So when you basically have mid-time, and in the evening, I think that one of the most powerful is relaxation, because as you all know, if you sleep properly, if you sleep always at the same time, you always stand up about the same time, then your body gets used to this and regenerates even better. So if you basically use also the relaxation routine program with MagHealy, then you help your body to get into this relaxation phase much faster. And then, of course, you have a much higher regeneration rate through the night, as you would have if you just do crazy things and try to sleep. Then we all know that doesn't work. You usually go back and forth, but you don't fall asleep immediately. So a relaxation routine before you go to sleep is very, very healthy. Better than any medicine, most likely, because you stay healthy much longer usually. And then, of course, holistic health every second day to just boost your general well-being. And I think this routine can really make it easy to get the hang of it. And then, of course, as I said before, you always need to see what is now the most important thing. And I think that's the thing that you should always take into account. You should always keep in your mind your intuition, what actually is the right program, what is the right thing to do. Always listen to that. Always listen to that, but because that's the best guidance you can get through your life constantly if you basically learn to listen to your intuition. And I think we are through. So I wish you best of luck on your way to holistic health, and back to Mark.
Yes, thanks a lot, Martin, for the helpful insights you shared. So I think that's basically it for today. But before we close the call, I just want to point out one more time that you keep in mind that we see each other already next week, same day, same time, together again with Martin and me, same constellation, this time to learn more about the MagHealy water application. So I hope you enjoyed today's session and you will tune in again next week. A lot of people are always questioning if these sessions will be made available at a later point as a recording. And yes, that's definitely the plan, that these webinars are being part of the new academy at a later point. So relax and lean back. You will get the chance to review them.
Yeah, maybe two things. So one thing, you're 100% right. So the trainings that are there. So the first part is already in the academy with the scientific basis videos. And the other part is just produced right now. So we have also those then in several languages and subtitles. So I hope the next weeks we can publish this also in a course. So stay tuned. I also saw one question, what is the difference between the atmosphere sleep program versus the MagHealy and Classic? I think that's very, very easy to answer. So as I said, with the atmosphere programs, you basically take care of the sleep atmosphere, so of the whole room, so that you have an atmosphere that enhances your sleep. With the MagHealy programs, you usually have something that's actually working with two frequencies on the body directly. So it's more using the frequencies in a more physical way, very let's say specific. It's called frequency specific microcurrent, where it all originates. And the classic programs, those are the basically classic magnetic field applications for sleep. So that everyone has. We just enhance them, of course, with quantum analyzed frequencies. So you get a little more than everyone else has. Back to you.
All right, thank you. So maybe we can manage, Martin, that when we have a look at the chat, that we maybe take a few questions and can answer them up front or at the end of the next webinar, we will see. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to you, Martin. Wish you all the best. See you next time. Bye-bye.